Because I told her, no RCDs, none of this stuff. And we tried to get some legislation to try and
$25,000 a year.
that died in committee.
29.
Do you have a conference?
You're not engaged in any sort of age discrimination, right?
I'll tell you when you tell me
My age really has nothing to do with anything in terms of my employment.
All right.
That's a nice way to twist things, isn't it? I'm still not going to back down.
I am 50.
Yes.
1 year for
Good luck on healthcare district.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There, I don't know.
I'll listen to you.
I heard somebody.
They call it
We had to. I don't know.
No, wait.
Well, there you go. Okay. Richard.
We'll see you.
You did? Well, this is, are you? Yeah. How are you? Is that good or bad?
Depends on the day. Depends on the day.
You guys ready to work?
Good work.
It's called to order. Good morning, Mr. Chair. How are you today, sir?
I mean, in here. I'm not going to be there. Let's bring the meeting to order. Public comment. Any public comment before? Kelly, did you want to speak before? We'll put that.
Wait till the press gets here.
Wait till the press, okay.
Wait.
You wait.
It's Francis, yeah. You can come up and speak.
The rest of the press.
The press. The board approved $27,000 for Julie Bustamante to purchase agenda software. And then she waited a year to purchase it. It now costs $40,000, and Julie never came back to the board for approval for that. There's lots of people to blame for that, but we're not going to point fingers at this juncture. Richard Egan approved a $20,000 contract to remodel Julie Bustamante's office. There was no budget for this work, and I'm just wondering who she's accountable to, because certainly it's not this board. And so some reining in maybe needs, maybe a little more monitoring of what your county clerk is doing. We sent somebody in on May 22nd to look at the Lassen County public improvement operations agendas, and they were told that there were no records. I then went in a week later asking the same thing to see the agendas and minutes and financials. And I was told that Mr. Burns told her to refuse to let me look at the records. There's something really wrong in that department, because you can go in any department, and I have, in this county and be pleasantly greeted and walk out with your documents. There's some secrecy, some authority that she's assumed that she doesn't really have that needs to be really looked at. And for Mr. Egan to go ahead and approve $20,000 contract to remodel her office, there is no budget. I've checked with Larry Millar. I've checked the budget. We watch your budget very closely, and there's no money budgeted for that. So things are not well in that office.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Okay, with that, announcement items to be discussed in closed session.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board will be meeting in closed session for conference with legal counsel significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D2 of Government Code Section 546.9, 2 cases, and for a conference with No, I'm sorry, we're not going to meet for a conference with labor negotiator Rick Hague today. So just in case.
With that, we'll go into closed session.
Yeah, there's a big whole bunch of strawberries, and Iona, you can can them. They're that big. When
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever enduring guidance. We ask you to focus in wisdom and fortitude that we may disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Amen. Okay, now to the Bible in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board met in closed session for conference with legal counsel regarding significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D2 of Government Code Section 54956.9, and there was no reportable action.
Thank you. Agenda approval, additions, and or deletions.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask that we adjourn our meeting today and we will end the stop.
I was going to do that also.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Being
Yeah, that one, we also, that's right. I don't know what his name is.
Oh, Ross East.
Huh?
Ross East.
Okay, we should adjourn
Yes.
them right here as well. That's right. Good call.
County Council.
Sorry to segue from that serious moment to something different. But today is Mr. Egan's birthday. I'd like to ask that the board adjourn in his memory. So.
We can do that. Happy birthday, Mr. Egan.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda, and that after this motion is been approved, that we all join in singing Mr. Egan.
I'll second
I don't
that.
think you have 3 votes for that.
I'll second that.
You go ahead and leave, fella.
That is the most butchered song in America.
Okay, any more additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Who's leading?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday
Happy birthday, dear Richard. Happy birthday to you.
and twin brother too.
Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. Kelly? Yes, sir.
Good morning. I came before you in March asking if I could submit for the award for the National Association of Counties for our Building a Meaningful Relationship. And I am pleased to announce that we have been awarded the National 2015 Achievement Award for our Vermont Outreach Project. I'm so excited. I could. Thank you.
Good job.
What have you got? Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 sheets.
Yeah, there's 2 pages for everyone. And you have extra copies as well. Excellent, thank you. There's 2 letters.
Got it.
Okay. If there aren't enough, I'm happy to give mine.
I have all here.
This is a pretty prestigious award.
Yes, it is.
And I think there's an opportunity to go back to the NACO conference and receive the award for perhaps Kelly or a member of the board or representative of the county.
July 12th.
Yeah, the last time we had one of these, Brian Dolly was on the board. He happened to be there representing the rural county to be the rear president, and he accepted the award at that time.
So before you is the letter, is the award letter, and then there's the press release. I don't want to do the press release yet because down at the bottom you'll see a section that says insert quote from county official. So if one of you would mind giving some form of quote, and then I'll put it in there, and then I'll give it to Ruth. Okay. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Good job. Anybody else wish to speak? Billy? You want to speak?
Yeah. I'm here, well, my name is Felix Flores. I'm a resident of Fremont, California. One of the reasons I'm here, I want to kind of bring you up to an update with the kind of projects and meetings we're starting to have, and that has to do with what we're calling now the Sierra Alliance. The people who are participating in so far is Tom and myself, Pat, Deli, Gaines, City of Susanville, Washoe County, Plumas County, PCS, REC, Bob, and Serco. I'm sure Lassen County is going to want to get some information of this also. And the reason we're doing this is, again, we understand as much as I've been here, we're starting to think out of the box. We're trying to market ourselves with the support of the entire county, okay? So we want to keep you up to date with what's going on. And the purposes of it is we all know there's going to be more BRACs coming down the road. One of the mandates is the way the Army or the military looks, if you don't want us, we'll leave. We'll go find a place where somebody wants us. That is the mandate by them now. So they're planning on, hopefully, with a new, and hopefully I can get to this, that we support them. We tell them we want them here. We want them to build with our assistance. And again, I'll get into that on my second part of this presentation. But I'd like to go over a few figures with you, what the impact of this mission, the depot is right now. We have 1,600 employees, or 60% of it are California residents, located in Lassen County. 60% Lassen County. There's 44% employees are veterans, okay, from Lassen County. And we're all proud of our military people here. There's $276.9 million to the local community, California economy, excuse me. There's $3.1 million contract with a county of Tehama County. There's 343 government assets, excess of $8.3 million to California. And the big one for our local transit is basically utilizing more than and supporting it quite a bit. And that's a big impact if they leave. Okay? Now, part of this Sierra Alliance, it's not just Lassen County. We have reached out. We reached out to Nevada because Nevada is a big player in this. Okay? So some of the figures on that is there's 1,600 employees coming from Nevada. 44% of it are veterans. $166.4 million goes to their economy. There's $2 million in prime contracts that they have. The City of Sparks provides maintenance support for fire trucks and training mechanics of $145,000 a year. Reno Business installing fire support systems. Support Nevada Air Guard with equipment. Provide 159 government assets worth of excess of $238,000 to agencies in Nevada. That's I think one of the reasons we need to work to keep this base here. It's very important. Now the reason again, maybe there's a lot of people are not aware of the new mandate by Congress. And I want to emphasize this to everybody. Congress has passed a Department of Defense authorization bill, okay, to do partnerships, private partnerships. Let me exactly read it to you. Public to public partnerships, public to private partnerships. Okay? That was in the authorization bill for 2013. So everything that I'm talking about, everything that my supervisor, who we went to training to get educated about this so we can answer questions to be transparent, which to me is very, very important. So everybody knows what directions we go, what regulations we're following, and that was one of the reasons that I'm here. Real quick, so we kind of show what we're trying to do. And I'm going to just read little captions here. Some of the most valuable outcomes of a successful partnership include improved communications. And here's the big one, gentlemen. Trust. This training I went to, 90% of the reasons you'll get a contract is because they trust us. Trust us as leaders within the community. And commitment between the installation and the community partners. Now the community partners are just, it's every businessman, every entrepreneur in Lassen County can participate in this new authorization bill. We just got to figure it out how to do it. Hopefully the people that, with this new Sierra Alliance that we're trying to start in Hurlong, we can find new leadership. We can find new ideas. So we can keep going forward. I think it's one of the most important things and opportunity for this county right now. This is something brand new, and I'd like to emphasize this because I like saying it. It was mandated by Congress. What more do we want? Some of the classes I went to, city managers were involved. Local supervisors are involved. Councils are involved. Trying to organize it, get to their local bases, so they can start doing some of that, some of this contracting out. And again, it isn't like we have to go to Washington. The local commander now can make an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. If they need it and they want it, they can do it. But the most important thing they're looking for right now is investment. I want to re-emphasize this. Investment. They don't have any money to build warehouses. They don't have money to refix plumbing and repair plumbing. Their money is going to the war. Well, let me rephrase it. Their money needs to be for the troops, to support the troops. So they're willing to go in partnerships with civilians to provide these assets for them. Not only to build it for them, to do the maintenance on them, and any repairs or any improvements. That's what they're looking for. Tom has been working on this, myself, and other leaders in our community, and we've been transparent. Nobody ever came to me, and I thought, I'm a pretty loud guy, that at least somebody had a question, I'd get a call or ask me a question. Well, nobody's ever done that. If you need to know something, I'm going to say it one more time. It's called transparency. You need to know anything, any citizen needs to know anything, don't hesitate to call. Come to our meetings. Actually, I encourage it. So we all become aware, and we're all in the same plane, and we can get something accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doing a good job, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Felix.
Okay, anybody else have anything on public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to board member report. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple items. Actually, to take off on what Mr. Forage just was talking about, the Colonel at the base, Lieutenant Colonel Charlie Lassen, spoke to the Rotary Club of Susanville last Wednesday, and he's hosting a tour of the base. We've got 28 members and guests attending. We'll be touring the base here
No, it's 2:30.
tomorrow. So I think the opportunity to show what they have, a lot of the statistics and information that Felix just presented in his presentation, he had a PowerPoint thing, and put up the slides and talked about the dynamics and where the employment comes from and how many jobs and how things are growing. And as this board has toured the base here in the past year or two, it's amazing what is going on out there. I call it the Walmart of the Army. It doesn't matter where you're at, what foxhole you may be in. If you need something, you punch in that SKU code and it goes to out here to see your Army depot. He also indicated that all the, I guess when the new, whether it's the National Guard or the troops, but when they join, they have to have all their uniforms and outfits. They have a term for it, a pack. But anyway, all those that come right out of the Sierra Army depot. So we basically clothe the Army from the base out here. And one of the things that we learned on that tour we did a year or so ago was that the FedEx, this is the largest single source customer for FedEx in their whole system. I mean, there's bigger customers, but they have several points of entry. This is one single point of entry. They do more business out of there. And so I think it is a big deal. And I think that it does provide value to the military, to the Army, to the armed forces. But it provides value. And those are our people out there working in those jobs. It's all private sector. We talked about the investment in the warehouses and so forth. So yes, there's opportunity if the private sector wants to partner to be able to provide. So I think there are a lot of really good things that are going on out there. And he showcased that, and he's going to be giving that tour. I know Tom has been out there numerous times. I went out with Tom, and we watched that 747 land out there on Amity Field. I mean, that's huge. We're going to see more and more of it. He indicated that there's been 6 landings so far, and hopefully there'll be some more in the future. So they are using that. So it's a good thing, and I appreciate the work you're doing in promoting that. And I think the county should be a partner in that respect. But it was great to have the colonel there, and he gave a great presentation. I also attended the 2 Boy Scout Scout Corps of Honor last Saturday. Represented the board, presented the certificates of recognition. I think it's really great that we have that program, and we talk about providing leaders for the future. That those are the people who will be succeeding in that particular area. With that, that's all I have to report from this past week.
Thank you, Jim. Aaron?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to thank Felix for showing up and tell us about what the Workforce Alliance is, because we have an agenda there that really nobody knew anything about, so I appreciate you coming in and informing us about it and offering to keep us involved in that. I appreciate that. And I like your fact that you want to use trust and transparency. And I kind of hate to pick an old wound, but I kind of think that I have to, just for the sanctity of my own reputation, and the rest of the boards as well. Is there was some talk, and Tom had to write a letter to talk to the paper, about the secret meetings and whatnot, and I went back and after all that, and I did my own research about the secret meetings, and Tom at the February 17th, he did discuss about having private meetings with Smith, Guzzulo, Hayes, Lori, Colonel Lassen, one of the fellow, I forget his name. And he talked about that he'd had 3 meetings with those, but the information he had was nostalgic and couldn't be talked about at that time. And at the same time, that was before we signed off on one of the RFPs. And so, I think, I appreciate Tom's transparency that he admitted he did that, but still at the same time, I don't think that was necessarily probably kosher, and it kind of makes the board look bad at my personal opinion. But anyway, let's try to keep positive as we move forward.
Excuse me, sir.
And anyway, this is my report. But anyway, the junior...
What board member reports right now? We got.
Oh, I thought it was open.
It's still public
The
comment.
junior...
No, it's not.
Oh, is it?
Oh, I didn't hear it. I apologize, I thought it was showing up
Did
for
you
comment.
speak in public comment? It's public comment.
We left public comment, we were on, and we as your board member report. If you don't understand, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Don't interrupt no more. We had your chance at public comment, and you said nothing. We have moved on. Go ahead, Aaron.
Pit River Rod and Gun Club, they're also having their junior fishing derby. It'll be January 13th up there in Big Valley at the Ash Creek Wildlife Refuge.
June 13th.
June 13th, excuse me, thank you.
I was gonna say January.
They're gonna be out before.
A little ice fishing. And then for my discretionary funds, I'd like to give $1,000 to the Big Valley 50 Plus Club, $500 to the $750 to the Lassen County Library, $500 to the Big Valley Recreation District, and then $250 to the Lassen County Cooperative Extension to go to the 4-H clubs. And that was all.
Thank you.
I want to thank Tony Shaw. We had an issue with Forest Service on the Thompson Peak Lookout. They had sustained some vandalism and some wind damage up there on the lookout, and Mr. Shaw, in his position as the Coordination Council coordinator, I guess, if you will, sent some emails to Ms. Taylor from Plumas, and they were saying that they weren't going to open it. I think it's pretty important that lookout is manned. So Tony's done a real good job, and now they're going to fix it. They're going to have it staffed, which for everybody's safety in the valley, I think is pretty important. On my discretionary funds, I want to spend $500 to the music program, $500 to the food bank, and $500 to Janesville Town Council.
Okay, the Janesville Music Program?
No, but that's school music. Okay. The fundraiser around this weekend.
Okay.
Tell me that again. 500 to music, 500 to
Food bank. Yeah, food bank.
Okay.
Janesville Town Council.
Got it.
Sounds good.
Good. Tom?
With this $500 there, money out of my discretionary fund, we had to rescind that. Richard?
That's on the agenda. It's on the agenda.
Oh, okay. I have nothing else.
Nothing else? Okay, my discretionary fund, like $500 to go to the Susanville FFA, $400 to the Westwood Museum, $500 to the Westwood Chamber of Commerce, and $250 to the Booth Store Lawn. Anybody else? Okay, we will move on to, what are we doing on here? Information consent calendar, anything to be taken off, that's a separate item.
I have one. G6.
G6, receptive discussion. Anybody from the public have anything on the consent calendar they want taken off? Separate item? Seeing none. Okay, do I have a motion to approve all with G6? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say no, ayes have it. G6, Aaron.
Yeah. This is with the solid waste and cow recycle. And I was just wondering on this here, is there a way we can work with the cooperative extension on this in any way to help get rid of some of the solid waste, you know, with some of the green fuels or composting, or there's so many different things for research, for grants. I mean, is there something we can kind of work together on this? I mean, maybe this grant may not be the one to do it with, but I know that there's a bunch of grants in the solid waste program that there's a bunch of potential there, and I was wondering if there's something Lassen County could be doing to help promote that, to get some dollars in research here in the county.
To reduce some of the waste.
Yeah, and even work with the college on some of this. I don't know what comments.
I don't know, we have Doug Ames back in the office at the moment. We pick his brain about it. He's the guy who knows all about the waste management stuff, so
And I don't think necessarily this one here might not be the right grant to apply, but anyway, it just brought it up, so I would like to bring that up for discussion here at this point in time. And put that on the table, maybe it can be added to this, I don't know. I'll leave that to the solid waste guys.
How does this particular grant in this position, how does it interact with the Lassen Regional Solid Waste Authority? Because they're doing, that's what their job is. We have a JPA that common sit on that, and I'm reading this here. It's like this is what we talk about, and we've got staff that doing this. So why are we doing it as is this a duplication? Or
Well, no, this grant is to pay to have waste landfills inspected.
So this is paying for the regulatory.
Right.
From
And
my
this-
JPA hat perspective, from the regulatory harassment, and from my board hat.
Well,
this
they
is-
work well together, you know.
I'm just being facetious. You just take things so seriously. But from the board perspective, Mel and I go to a lot of meetings together. We have these discussions all the time. But from the board perspective, we got to go and harass these people to make sure they do their job. So this is okay.
Yeah, and actually this,
Because I think what Aaron's really aiming for is a discussion is really more from the JPA side in terms of how they, and we are capturing a lot of green waste, and they are working with programs to try to. So it's not one of
Like I said, I didn't know if this applied or not, I didn't think it did, but I just wanted to kind of build that.
This is paying for Doug Ames to go make sure they're doing it.
well, the grant is.
Yeah.
This action today is for you to approve a resolution, so I don't have to keep bringing it back to every year to do a resolution.
It's a
to
3-year
approve
thing.
the submission, so. But I will be happy to talk to Doug and see what he knows about grants that are out there, and I know he does. I was kidding Mr. Chapman, but they really do work very well together,
They do.
and they do a great job on the landfills. So.
And Doug has helped them out a bunch in terms of getting them, but they work in tandem. There's a lot of grant money out there, but it's coming from the other direction.
But I'll be happy to see what I can find out, and I'll let you know.
Okay, that would be fine. I was just, like I said, I went to one of those deals down at RCRC and realized how much potential was there, and then I saw this, and I did go to the one of the solid waste meetings for a little bit.
Yeah, down
Well,
there.
I found the one here.
Oh, yeah.
There too, but anyway, I was just trying to kind of spur things along a little bit if we could. And I just wanted to-
Appreciate that. I'll see what I can find out for you.
Very good.
I mean, to add to the story, we are capturing a fair amount of green waste, and we've actually are exceeding our targets at the moment. And one of the values is all that stuff not going into the landfill. Our executive director, he reported that the landfill now, we've added about 3 years additional life to the landfill. We were expecting it to be basically full by 2030, and now we're up to like 2034. So these kind of programs, but there's a downside to that, because when you don't put a lot of stuff in the landfill, the revenue stream that goes with putting stuff in the landfill goes down. So you're trying to maintain operations with, so if you're too efficient, you wind up cutting off your funds to take care of the business. So we're struggling with that right now.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you.
Do you have a motion to approve that?
I would move to approve the use.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Ayes have it. H1, Lassen County Fire Safe Council.
Mr. Chairman, the county's received a request from the Lassen County Fire Safe Council, that is for funding projects that they would like to carry out under the Title III funding. I know there are members of the Fire Safe Council in the audience. I'm sure they would like to address you. This request follows a meeting that we, staff and Supervisor Chapman and Hemphill and Mr. Shaw and myself met with the Fire Safe Council about some of the issues that have occurred in the past in terms of their financial disclosure, the Fire Safe Council's financial disclosure and so forth. And, we think we've fairly well resolved those issues. If the board wants to move forward with this project, then I would recommend that we draft a contract with the Fire Safe Council that more specifically outlines those issues and bring it back for a future approval that we'd like to get at.
Lloyd, did you want to?
Yes, I would. First of all, I would like to thank the board,
Supervisor Chapman, our council, and the county administration for the opportunity to sit down and go over our budget request. I think it was a very, very good meeting, lively at times, but we appreciated it and it helped us. And we have, I think, before you, our budget request. If you have, I can kind of give you an overview of what these requests are, if you would like. In the first part, we have 3 green waste days, and these are Firewise communities that need to recertify their Firewise standing. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but the communities actually have a number of options that they can choose to do to promote fire prevention in the community.